Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to the letter V in my alphabet of favourite films. We are getting near the end of the alphabet, and when we do, I'm going to do another series that hopefully will make you put on your thinking caps. But obviously I'm not going to tell you what that is until we get to the letter Z. Or Z. So, as always, please leave your list of your favourite films beginning with the letter V, and I look forward to reading them. First of all, I'm going to just show you 3 films that are in my backlog that I either need to watch or rewatch. So they might end up in my large list when I ever compile it. So first of all is Veteran, which is a Korean film which was a blind buy, but because it's released by Plain Archive, I haven't watched this yet, but it's Korean, so chances are it's going to be pretty good. I don't think I've actually watched a Korean film yet that I've not actually liked. Next is Valerie and Her Week of Wonders, which is a Czech film which, crazily enough, I still haven't watched. Second run recently released it on Blu-ray, and it's on Blu-ray and DVD and Criterion. And then Vertigo, which I need to watch again, but I'm probably not really going to change my mind on it. Because, as you may or may not know, I'm not really the biggest Hitchcock fan. I only have Vertigo because I promised Daisuke Beppu that I would give it another go. I have The Wrong Man because of Henry Fonda. I have Dial M for Murder pretty much just because of Ray Milland. That's pretty much the only Hitchcock films that I actually have. But let's move on to films that I have actually seen and films that I enjoy. First of all is Visitor Q, as you can see just on DVD. This is one of Takashi Miike's more nuttier films from 2001. In simplistic terms, this is his version of Pasolini's Theorem, but instead of Terence Stamp coming to a middle-class bourgeois Italian family and having sex with them all and changing their view in the world, this features a kind of surly young man who comes to this Japanese family's home, and through incest and murder and lactation, the family is changed in typical Takashi Miike style. It's perhaps not up there with his masterworks like Audition or Dead or Alive, or The Happiness of the Categories, but it's certainly one of his more crazier films and certainly worth a look. Next is bizarrely the only Jeanpiaget film you can't get in Blu-ray. I'm not exactly sure why. That's A Very Long Engagement with Audrey Tautou, who doesn't feature on this disc. And it's set during the World War. It's also about a very long engagement because it's about Audrey Tautou's character whose fiance goes missing during the war, presumed dead. but that's not the full story. It's a beautiful film. It has Jeanpiaget's kind of trademark greens and browns. It's beautifully shot. It's perhaps not as good as City of Lost Children or Delicatessen or Amelie, but it has wonderful set pieces and it's stunning to look at, and it's just quite beautiful. Next is Takeshi Kitano's Violent Cop, which bizarrely my random review of this film is one of my most viewed videos. I'm not sure why, maybe just because it's got the word violent in the title. You know what people are like these days. This is a Region A Blu-ray, which is stunning. Violent Cop isn't Takeshi Kitano's best film, but it might be my probably second favourite behind Hanabi. No, that's maybe my third favourite between Hanabi and Sonatine. It's just so bleak and so fatalistic. And if you watch my videos, you should know that I love bleakness and fatalism. And Violent Cop is just amazing. It's brutal. It shows violence, as most of Kitano's films do, in a more realistic way. It's short and sharp, and it's ugly in its outbursts. There's no kind of stylization. There is one lovely stylization, but then it quickly comes out of style and back to reality to prove a point. Kitano kind of shambles about in his now trademark shambling, but this obviously was early Kitano, and it's just so good. Violent Cop. Next is another Korean film, The Villainous, which is basically very bloody and very brutal. Perhaps not that engaging, but it's certainly well worth a visit and well worth a watch. This is the Arrow Blu-ray release. So I'll probably say it's not going to make the final list whenever I do that. But it's well worth a look. Plus, it's Korean. Next is a straight up masterpiece. Dreyer's Vampire from 1932. This is the Criterion, spine number 437, the Region A Criterion. This film is just amazing. Again, I did a top 10 vampire films. I think this came in at number 2. It's just amazing, simple camera tricks, but they're just so effective. It's a beautiful, otherworldly film. It just transports you to a very strange place, and it's stunning. I definitely will be making the final list. Next is a fun little film that would make the final list. It's The Voices with Ryan Reynolds. This is a steelbook, which is a fridge where he keeps people's heads. This is a film that I think was mismarketed. It was marketed as a comedy. There's even like a big musical number at the end, which doesn't really fit. It doesn't really work as a comedy, but it actually works as a kind of character study of somebody who is sociopathic. And Ryan Reynolds actually gives quite a good turn as somebody who's sociopathic, who listens to the voices of his dog and his cat. So as a comedy, it doesn't really work, but as actually quite a dark little study of insanity and sociopathy, it's actually a nice little film. Obviously not nice in the nice sense, I just mean nice. Next is one of my all-time favourites, Vanishing Point. Avoid the remake with Viggo Mortensen and happy ending, and explaining stuff, as these films tend to do. Vanishing Point is just so good. Again, I've done a random review on it. It's way better than Easy Rider, even though it wouldn't have been made without Easy Rider. It's ultra cool. It's bleak as hell. Yes, you would have guessed. I like it because it's bleak. There's a few films here that are bleak, and I love them. Dodge Challengers never look so good. The deserts never look so good. It's the end of an era, the death of freedom. And Cleveland Little as Super Soul radio DJ. It's fantastic. You can get a Super Soul t-shirt. Next is another stone cold masterpiece, George Sluize's The Vanishing from 1988, not his American remake from 1993 with Jeff Bridges and Kiefer Sutherland and Sandra Bullock and Nancy Travis. This is the original Dutch, or Spoorloos, is that what it was called in Dutch? This is a stunning serial killer film. It's shot so matter-of-factly. It's not showy like other certain serial killer films made in the late 80s. It's so down to earth. It really encapsulates the banality of evil. And it has one of the most devastating endings in history, unlike the remake. Yeah, normal people in abnormal situations. It's a stunning, stunning film that if you haven't seen it, you need to rectify that immediately. Some people might find the pacing a little bit slow, but it's like a slow drip of poison in your coffee. It's a stunning film. Certainly George Sluize, one of those filmmakers that made one masterful film and then not much else. I think Bruce Robinson's in that category as well. Next is a little Russian film, Ear Vai, which I did a random review of, which is a wonderful, creepy little Russian film about supernatural and witches and demons. It's got a great documentary with Richard Stanley, and also another documentary about the history of science fiction and horror in Russian cinema. It's only 77 minutes. It's a weird, strange little film, but the last 20 minutes are just amazing. And we're actually on to the last one, which is David Cronenberg's Videodrome, or David Cronenberg's Videodrome. And I only show the criterion for the fact that the box is actually a videotape. But unless you have a slit in your stomach like James Woods, do not insert this tape into your body. For me, it's my favourite packaging of any Criterion release. It's just wonderful. The film is probably my favourite early Cronenberg, because if you look at his career, he had that early period where perhaps the budget and acting restrictions didn't quite manage to put his full vision onto the screen. And Videodrome is perhaps not quite there either, but it's the best one of those early films. James Woods is fantastic as a ultra sleazy cable TV guy desperate for the next sleaziest thing. Deborah Harry turns up and does fine work. Yeah, again, Cronenberg's imagination, the ideas that he has, that's kind of why he is a next level film director. So thank you very much for watching The Letter V. Not too many films in there, but again, there will be ones that I've forgotten about. There will be ones that I haven't seen and I need to see urgently. So please do leave those films in the comments below. And thank you very much for watching. And next, it is the letter W, which I think will have a few films. So as always, appreciate the support. Thanks for watching and stay safe. This is Solitude Ronan from Solitude Ronan Films saying farewell.